All right, let's do this. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to AOL Build. How y'all doing today? You doing all right? Starting the day off right? Yeah? There you go. Smile. I see you. I know you're happy to be here. There it is. Awesome. That was just wonderful. Thank you so much for that, guys. Excuse me. I'm obviously so excited I'm choked up about today's lineup. We've got so many coming at you, coming out the gate hot on this beautiful, beautiful Monday here in New York City. Thank you to those tuning in live on AOL.com. Really good to have you as well. We're going to have a lot of fun. Our first guest coming out here for you guys today, talking about his new release, Electronica 2, The Heart of Noise. We got the one and only Michel Jarre is here. What do you think of that? Yes. Pretty cool. It's a great way to start. He'll be out here in just a moment. He's going to sit in this chair right here, occupy this particular space. And then leading the conversation for you, we've got Director of Entertainment Editorial over at HuffPost. That's right. Lauren Moraski's here. You guys know Lauren. A little bit of love for Lauren. There you go. Perfect amount of love. That's fantastic. They're going to come on out. They're going to sit down. They're going to talk, of course. We'll open it up for you guys for audience Q&A. So if you haven't yet, I'm sure once they start gabbing about, you'll get some questions bouncing around in the old question box up there. Careful back there. And those tuning in live on AOL.com, guess what? You get to be a part of the fun. Think of some questions, send them our way. Go ahead and press the button, says submit a question on it, or tweet at us at AOL Build. These are all great options. I encourage you to exercise each and every one of them. Both. That's right. Go nuts. It's your Monday, too. No video or anything, guys. We're going to jump right on into this one. But before I bring them out here and get started, I got one more question for you. I think you know what it is. I'm going to ask anyway. So y'all ready to go? Come on. Let's kick it off right. Let's do it right. Beautiful. Keep it going, ladies and gentlemen, and please welcome your moderator, Director of Entertainment Editorial, Lauren Moraski, and today's guest, Michel Jarre.
All right. That's a nice welcome, right?
Yes.
Yeah, welcome to New York.
Thank you very much.
And AOL Build. So we are so happy to have you here. Thank you so much for coming
Me too.
in
Thank
today.
you for welcoming me.
Yeah, absolutely. You have a lot going on right now,
Yes.
including the release of your new album, Volume 2,
Absolutely.
Heart of Noise. It's an amazing record. You have an amazing cast of characters on there. Cyndi Lauper, Edward Snowden, we got the Pet Shop Boys. Talk a little bit about the origin of this album, and I understand it took a little while to put together.
Yeah, actually, this Electronica project is born about the idea about around 6 years ago, when I thought about gathering around me people linked to electronic music over 3 or 4 generations. I mean, people who are a source of inspiration to me, who have been a source of inspiration to me, and beyond, I mean, being linked directly or indirectly to technology, modern technology, analog or digital technology. And actually in days where we have so many featuring albums consisting of sending files through the net to people you'll never meet or you will even never talk to, right. I really decided to travel physically and meet with people and spending some time in their studio or in my studio to share, in a sense, the creative process. And everybody said yes. So I ended with almost 2.5 hours of music. So I decided a little bit like Kill Bill 1 and Kill Bill 2 to divide the Electronica project in two albums. The one just being released before Christmas called Electronica 1, The Time Machine, and the second one being released these days called The Heart of Noise, as you just said.
Yeah, can you talk a little bit about that process and that creative process, what you learned from going into the studio with all of these amazing artists?
I mean, I think all these artists, they have, and I think we all have in common, they have in common an instant recognizable sound, a kind of organic approach of sounds. I mean, I'm coming from France, from a city called Lyon, and very known worldwide for cooking. And I'm really considering electronic music as cooking beats and textures and waveforms in a rather sensual way. And they all have this in common. Whatever you are talking about, the new EDM people, such as Boys Noise or Gesa Feldstein or Armin van Buren in the trance scene, or people such as Laurie Anderson or Moby or even Cyndi Lauper, Hans Zimmer, Gary Newman, Air or Massive Attack, I mean, all these people, in their own way, they have this kind of very sensual, organic approach to sounds and how to create their own style. So the principle has been really for me to create a kind of demo, a piece of music for every collaborator in function of the phantasm or the fantasy I had regarding themselves, and then leaving enough space for them to collaborate.
Wow, that's really cool. Well, you have to talk about the Edward Snowden collaborations because we see a lot of mainstream artists on here from all different genres, but then we have Edward Snowden. How did that come about?
Actually, one of the recurrent themes of electronica is this ambiguous relationship we have towards technology these days. Actually, as we know, on one hand, we have the world in our pocket through our smartphones. On the other side, we know that we are spied on by the world, by the outside world. And actually, when I'm talking about one of the recurrent themes is actually, for instance, with Laurie Anderson, we did a song, starting with the idea that these days a lot of us are touching their smartphones more than their own partner. And then we decided to do a kind of love song, dark love song about between a connected object and a human being. And Laurie is doing the smartphone, obviously. And with Massive Attack, we did this track called Watching You about the CCTV camera surveillance. With Cyndi Lauper, we did this track called Swipe to the Right, which is, related to Tinder. And you like that, huh? Yes. Yes. Then swipe to the right, and this is a match sometime. Yes.
Yeah.
And then when I was recording this electronica project, I heard about the Edward Snowden case, and funnily enough, it made me think about my mother. And my mother was a great figure in the French resistance during the Second World War. She went into resistance at the beginning of the war in 1941. And she has, and in days where lots of people in my country were considering resistance as troublemakers, even from some of them as tweeters. And I've been raised with this idea that when the power in place is generating ideas or actions which are negative or harming our community, some people should stand up against that. I know that in this country, lots of people are thinking that Edward Snowden is a tweeter. I think a tweeter is somebody harming us, or harming the people, which has not been the case since the last 4 years. He has made his revelation. I think he did that more for the love and the sake of his country, like the French resistance did for my country. The same thing. And I love America as an artist, and I have lots of respect for this country. And this country has been founded from an act of resistance, and it has been considered as an act of treason against the king of that time. And every social progress has been done against the law. If you think about the end of slavery, the end of the right for abortion, the right of votes for women, gay people being able to get married, and so on and so forth. Every generation, every step, every time we succeed to create a social progress, it has been done against the law of that time. So this is the reason why I wanted to promote not the man, but the idea behind it. In days where so many people here in America and on the other side of the pond in Europe are attracted by and seduced by populist people such as Donald Trump on one side, Marine Le Pen on the other side, and because more by rejection of the power in place, I think it's interesting to think about people questioning the power in place in their own country because they love the country, not because they want to harm their own country. So this is the reason why that I went to Moscow. I recorded this piece with Edward, and I met a very nice human, young adult, And we decided to, obviously he's not an artist, he doesn't want to be recognized as even as a person, as an iconic person at all. But he just wanted to collaborate with him, being part of this project. And we thought about this track called Exit. And he is explaining why he wants to, he think that this exit as a concept is interesting. And the whole track basically, as we discussed, is a kind of speedy techno track. I mean, evoking or symbolizing the, I would say, this kind of mad quest we all have for more and more information, for big data. And at the same time, this crazy, obsessive hunt that the three most powerful organizations in the world, I mean, in this country, NSA, CIA, and FBI, I mean, are driving against one single individual.
And that all fits in with the theme of this record, really. I mean, the technology aspect, so
exactly.
it really all comes full circle.
Yeah, I mean, Edward Snowden is one of the 30th collaborators of this album. He's one amongst all the other ones. He's not more important, but I think I felt that somehow it had a logic to involve somebody as Edward Snowden as part of this electronica project.
You know, here we are, 2016. You got your start early on in electronica music. Can you talk a little bit about the trajectory and where you were then and where we are now and what you see as the future, even? Because EDM music as a genre has really exploded even in the last few years.
Yeah, I mean, which is very interesting with electronic music these days. I mean, as we know, electronic music has no boundaries anymore. It's everywhere. And it's more like, it's not only a genre of music. It's not like hip-hop or punk or funk or rock. And because it's a different way of approaching music composition. I mean, it's dealing with noise, with sounds. I mean, the title, The Heart of Noise, is due to the fact that we all, as electronic musicians, at the heart of noise. I mean, the noise is like a rock for a sculpture from which you are extracting your sound, your music. And this is a new way of writing, producing, even distributing music now through deep technology. So this whole idea of of evolution of electronic music is obviously due to technology, but also beyond this. I mean, our relationship with the future. Electronic music has always been linked with a certain idea of science fiction or future, or whatever. And actually, when you think about what Bill Gates has said, I mean, just a few days ago, saying we should be very, very conscious that artificial intelligence now is more and more present, is going to be more and more present in our day-to-day life. And one day, maybe the next electronica project would not be about collaborations with artists, with human beings, but with machines, where we can maybe not having interfaces anymore, but just having an idea, and this idea could be instantly conveyed into notes and frequencies and music. It may well happen. We have no idea, which is great, as we know with the future, is because we have no idea about what's going to happen. This is the reason why the time machine, for me, is much more interesting as a tool to be, as a vehicle to be used for exploring the future than the past.
I still love the fact that you actually went into the studio with these artists, because it's so easy nowadays to just send a track over digitally, because we're talking about the advancement of technology, but you actually really wanted to be in the studio and meet the artists that you were collaborating with, which is really great. So I love that. You've played before millions of people. You've broken records for your live performances. Can you talk a little bit about what that meant to you and what that was like for you at that time?
Actually, I've always been interested and involved in how to visualize electronic music, because I mean, staying behind your laptop or your synth for 2 hours is not the most sexy thing on earth. So I mean, it's cool to probably in days where you can listen to music, guys, everywhere in the street. I mean, at home, in your car, wherever. If you buy a ticket to go to a festival, to a concert, is because mainly you have a visual expectation of the artist you like. And then I've been involved at a very early stage in my career to how to visualize music. And I tried to create a bridge with scenographs and electronic and videos and lights and lasers to try to to try to conceive a kind of bigger picture. And also, I've been always interested with architecture and involving architecture. I mean, playing in outdoor venues. And this is the reason why probably that from the beginning I had lots of followings or quite a bigger crowd than in a normal arena, because it was outside, and basically the audience, as we know in an outdoor place, I mean, the audience is actually defining the size of the hall, more or less.
It's crazy, yeah. I mean, it's just such a culture now with all the music festivals that you got started out or so early on, but we just had an EDM festival this weekend in New York, you know, so it's just really huge right now. Can you talk a little bit about starting out and, you know, making those beats and those, you know, the music very early on and not getting some traction? There was a little bit of a delay, and then you self-published your album, right? So can you talk a little bit about that was like for you and how you really pulled ahead to be successful?
Yeah, actually, the first, my first album who have been quite a popular recognition was Oxygen, and this album actually has been is a very good example for encouraging young artists to be stubborn, because it has been really rejected, refused by almost all record labels, and they say, "What's this music? There is no drummer, no singers. I mean, tracks are 10 minutes or 12 minutes long, and on top of it is French." So, so you know, and then a small independent label in Europe, I mean, took it, and it became a kind of instant hit all over the world. But I think at the beginning it was, I remember that, you know, the album was, I mean, starting with a kind of white noise, like this strange white noise, and some people buying the album were sending the album back to the factory because they thought that it had a technical problem. So I mean, it has been difficult. Then I mean, all that is behind, but it proves that the advice I could give to young artists is actually be yourself. And in days where, I mean, from the beginning of this conversation, probably you have 100 new softwares who have been released for doing music and making you believe that it's going to ease your life, which is not necessarily the case. And by sunset, there will be history. So my advice would be actually just focus on one instrument, one software, one hardware, whatever.
Yeah.
And just try to be stick to it for 6 months and trying to, because the answer is in yourself. It's never outside. It's always inside. And whatever the technology you use, you can use a tam-tam, a piano, a violin, or synthesizer, or virtual plugin. I mean, what makes your music interesting is actually yourself by the end of the day.
Yeah, that's good advice all around. So you've collaborated with a lot of artists on the last 2 records. Is there someone a dream collaborator that you would love to work with that you haven't yet?
Oh, yes, I mean, the problem with this kind of project is, I mean, I've worked with 30 collaborators, and believe me, it's a long process, right?
Yeah.
But obviously, the immediate question is, okay, who could have been in this album? And actually, it could have been 3,000 more, because you have lots of people that I'm not admiring just 30 people, but actually these ones were for me a kind of priority, and the first I talked to, and then I had to stop at one stage. But obviously, I would be very happy to work with other people. And funnily enough, I've been involved recently in a project from the other side, because I can say that because he revealed it on the net. But Damon Albarn asked me to participate for the next Gorillaz album, and we worked on some demos in my studio in France, and we'll see how it goes. Which is great in this kind of project is you are collaborating, and I understand more now that I've worked with Damon recently. Yeah. The idea that actually to respect the project of somebody else, because all the 30 collaborators on Electronica, they all told me, "Man, it's your project. You have the final cut." Mm-hmm. And this is probably why the album is quite coherent, I hope, is because by the end of the way, it's my album, the album of one artist, having lots of visitors and passengers, but they're all like, you know, it's very funny because I think we have a very new relationship with cultural content. in one way, on YouTube or on the net, you can actually zap. You are in zapping mode by just grabbing 2 minutes here, 3 minutes there from one song. But on the other side, you are able to not sleep during the whole weekend watching the old Game of Thrones or House of Cards or True Detective series.
Yeah.
So this Electronica project, actually, you can zap and dive into it, just taking one track of 3 minutes, and maybe it will give you the desire to explore other things. But also, I hope you can also listen to Electronica 1 and 2 like a kind of TV series with or a long movie, audio movie from A to Z. And I hope it will be the case.
Oh, yeah. So do you think we'll be seeing this live? Are you going to go on the road this year?
Actually, after all what I have not toured for quite a while, and obviously based on what you were saying about the previous concert involving lots of visuals, I mean there is a lots of expectation about my next tour, and I'm working at the moment on a total new type of scenography. It's kind of a 3D project without glasses, because I hate 3D with glasses. I think it's all give us headaches. To tell you the truth, I'm even ready to pay more in a theater to avoid the glasses and going back to 2Ds. But having said that, I mean this is quite a new type of 3D type of effects in the scenography, and I'm starting the world tour in next June in a very interesting, one of the most influential electronic festivals in the world called Sonar in Barcelona in Spain, and then in various festivals in Europe. Then arena tour, and hopefully going to the States early 2017.
Awesome. Well, lots to look forward to. We can't wait for your performance here. So thank you so much. But before we fully wrap, I would love to get some questions from the crowd here.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
We're going to start with a question from an online viewer. So Jasmine would like to know, what made you choose to collaborate with the Pet Shop Boys?
I mean, for me, the Pet Shop Boys are symbolizing this kind of mixture of the kind of cool club feel and this meeting between British pop and electronic music. And also, that's like a lot of the artists we were talking about, Edward Snowden. There is an activist side to the Pet Shop Boys. They did a lot for the gay community at the beginning. So all these reasons also they have. And we did this track called Brick England, and it's about also this whole suburban architecture of Great Britain, so linked. I mean, these red bricks buildings, so linked to British music and its social context. And I must say that it's been a great honor and privilege to work with so great artists. I mean, they have an instant recognized voice, and Neil, particularly Neil Tennant vocals, is so, I mean, it's so special. It carries this kind of happiness, clubby feel, but at the same time, this kind of melancholia, and I love that.
Awesome.
How's it going, man?
Hi.
So your career has spanned decades. What do you credit to your longevity?
I don't know. I mean, I have no idea. I mean, being stubborn, probably.
Hi, how are you? Hi. I was wondering, where do you get your inspiration from? Are you constantly inspired, or is this something that you kind of look for before you compose?
It's a very interesting question, because where inspiration is coming from is even a never-ending question. And I think one of the answers could be all kind of random elements that you can record in your mind or in your heart. I mean, for instance, the moment we are sharing together today, and I don't know. I mean, yesterday I was in Europe, and the rain against the window, and a bit of a movie you've seen or something on YouTube you've been attracted by. I mean, all these random elements in 1 week may give birth to a good idea or to a disaster. It depends.
Hi, John.
Hi.
When you're sitting in front of the computer and working on your music, do you ever experience any like creative blocks or any have trouble working, or do you find like inspiration anywhere else to keep yourself going?
Oh yes, yes, absolutely. I mean, I think that the creative process is 95% headaches and 5% of dreams, and we are all looking for this magical instant of dream, and this makes you very humble because actually you can work on 3 weeks on a track and it doesn't go anywhere, and suddenly by chance suddenly you think that something happens, and it's like not being esoteric or whatever, but it's like if you in those moments you are like a filter coming from somewhere, and just something that suddenly gives something coherent or has a meaning. It's very strange. I mean, but at the same time, I think that music, I'm not doing music to try to get, and I think people in general are not doing music for fame or for money, and most of them are for even happiness, but it's an addiction, because you do this because you can't do anything else. And in the middle of this electronic process for the Electronica project for 5 years, I said, but I would have spent most of my life in studios in front of computers and screens, and I could have done something else. I mean, I don't know, astrophysics, or going to fishing, or to clubs, or doing nothing, or sleeping, or whatever, eating, drinking. And then you can eat and drink as also in a recording studio anyway, as we know. But I did that because I'm doing this because I still have this kind of intact innocence and excitement about a new toy. Actually, all these guys, and girls in this Electronica project, I really just met naughty boys and naughty girls being passionate by their new toys and geeks and actually, as we know, with time, we are playing with toys like we were when we were kids, but just toys are becoming bigger.
Well, we're glad you're addicted to music. Thank you so much for all your questions. Thank you so much for your time today. One more round of applause. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much.